Did you know that Edge of Tomorrow nearly starred Brad Pitt instead of Tom Cruise? This single casting change would have taken the movie in a whole different direction. Let's dive into the fascinating world of what might have been and explore how this action-packed film evolved from its initial concept to the thrilling cinematic experience we know today. Edge of Tomorrow almost looked quite different from the movie we know today. It all started with the novel All You Need Is Kill, which Viz Media published in North America in 2009. This book caught the attention of producer Erwin Stoff, who saw its potential for the big screen. Instead of pitching the idea to movie studios, Stoff's company, 3 Arts Entertainment, decided to develop a script first to attract interest. They teamed up with Viz Productions with Viz Media president Hidemi Fukuhara, serving as executive producer. Dante Harper was brought on to write the screenplay. Harper found the novel's plot complex, but he decided to tackle it, spending 8 months on a script that he wasn't even sure would sell. His efforts paid off when Warner Bros. Bought his script for $3 million in 2010 and hired Doug Liman to direct. But Tom Cruise was not their first choice as the main lead. So who was it? Originally, Warner Bros. Had their sights set on Brad Pitt. When Pitt declined the role, the studio had to look elsewhere, eventually settling on Tom Cruise. This switch not only influenced the direction of the film, but also sparked new collaborations. Cruise, who had previously worked with Christopher McQuarrie on the Mission Impossible films, brought a unique dynamic to the project. This pairing later continued as Cruise struck a deal with Warner Bros. To star and produce more films for the studio. Imagine how different the film could have been if we received Brad's smooth swagger instead of Cruise's steely determination. But after settling on Tom Cruise, how did the screenplay evolve under the pressures of production deadlines and creative changes? The script of Edge of Tomorrow was really a work in progress right up to the last minute. In 2011, Warner Bros. Decided the script needed more work and brought in Jack Harold to tweak it, but that was just the start. 6 months before they were supposed to start filming, the director Doug Liman decided to throw out 2/3 of what writer Dante Harper had originally written. This led to a series of rapid changes, with Jez Butterworth and John Henry Butterworth stepping in to rewrite, followed by screenwriter Simon Kinberg. Just 8 weeks before filming started, Christopher McQuarrie, who was directing Tom Cruise and Jack Reacher at the time, took over. McQuarrie had a good feel for what the movie needed. He realized the earlier scripts were pretty dark, but Tom Cruise had a great idea: add more humor. So McQuarrie shifted the tone to lighten things up. Despite all the changes of not having an ending locked down, Liman decided to start filming and figure out the ending while they were already shooting, a decision almost unprecedented as a filmmaker. McQuarrie even thought about adding a big twist, where the alien mimics figure out the hero's plan and reset time themselves during the final attack, but he dropped the idea because he felt it was just too much for the audience to take in after everything else that had happened. In the end, he wanted to keep things lighter, so he chose to end the movie with a scene that loops back to the beginning with the hero arriving in London by helicopter. It's a classic comedy move to end where you started, making everything feel familiar and right again. All these last-minute changes show just how much a movie can evolve before it hits the screen. Edge of Tomorrow was almost a much darker film. Thanks to some quick thinking and creative ideas right at the last second, it ended up with a mix of action and laughs that really worked. But the script changes are just one piece of the puzzle. What kinds of challenges did the team face when it came to actually shooting the movie? Filming Edge of Tomorrow was quite the marathon. They ended up shooting 7 days a week with 2 different crews to squeeze in an extra 20 days more than they'd planned. One of the big headaches was the unpredictable British weather. Since the movie's supposed to happen all in one day, they needed the weather to look consistent. No easy task, to say the least. And the indoor beach set they built turned into a muddy mess, forcing the effects teams to digitally add cleaner sand and waves to make it look right. Even though they wrapped up filming by August 2013, they decided to add actor Jeremy Piven to the cast and shot some extra scenes with him, but none of his scenes made it to the final movie. Dion Beebe was the cinematographer for the film, and it was his first time shooting a feature film with Liman. Although they had worked together on commercials before, Beebe aimed to create a world that was under siege but not just another bleak, dark, post-apocalyptic scene. He steered clear of the overly dark, bleached look that's common in some action films. Instead, they shot on 35mm film, giving the battle scenes a feel similar to World War II footage, which really influenced their look and feel. The battle suits in Edge of Tomorrow really set the tone for the entire movie. Oliver Skoll and Pierre Bohanna were the brains behind the suit designs, pulling ideas from modern technology like DARPA's exoskeletons. Once the director Doug Liman picked out a design he liked, they built a prototype that was practical and looked cool. Kate Hawley, the costume designer, made sure the suits not only looked tough, but also stood out during the action scenes. She even made a special foam suit just for Tom Cruise to make sure he could move around easily in it. The team ended up making 120 suits in different styles, grunts, dogs, and tanks, over about 5 months. Emily Blunt's suit featured multiple red slashes on it to show she was a seasoned fighter. Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt actually wore these heavy suits while filming. The suits weighed about 85 pounds on average. Some were even heavier, up to 130 pounds. Because they had fake weapons like sniper rifles and rocket launchers, Emily Blunt trained for 3 months doing things like weights, sprints, and yoga to get ready for wearing her suit. Putting on these suits was no small task. It took 4 people just to help one actor get into their suit. At first, it took Cruise an hour to put on and take off his suit, but they got that down to just 30 seconds. Now, had lighter materials been chosen, or simpler designs for the suits, the whole look and feel of the movie could have been so different. The actors might have moved more easily, which could have changed how the action scenes were shot, but the design choices were important. Not just for the suit's realism, but for bringing the dynamic battle scenes to life. The visual effects in Edge of Tomorrow was also a huge deal, and really shaped how the movie looked. Nick Davis was the main guy in charge of the effects, and he had a team from 9 different companies helping him out. They started with something called pre-visualization, which is basically making a video blueprint of the scenes before actually filming them. This helped everyone know what the scenes should look like ahead of time. Sony Pictures Imageworks SPI took on a lot of the work for the first 2 parts of the movie. They created over 400 shots with realistic environments and intense battle scenes. A huge jump for them was making London Heathrow Airport to look like a military base packed with troops and vehicles. They even shared some of this work with another company called Rodeo FX. Cinecide came into the picture later and worked on 221 shots for 10 key parts of the movie, but only 189 of those shots ended up in the final version. As is the case most of the time, not everything filmed or created makes it into the final movie. Now, with all these different companies working on the effects, it's no wonder the final product ended up as well-rounded and unique as it did. Different effect teams bring their own styles, which only improves how realistic the battles feel or how the futuristic world looks to the viewers. Multiple creative inputs breed competition, and no one wants to submit the least polished scene, you know? So the movie could have had a whole different vibe with other creative decisions. But did you know there's been talk of a sequel? Tom Cruise is still interested in a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow, along with director Doug Liman and co-star Emily Blunt. Doug Liman recently shared in an interview with Variety that he and Cruise watched the original 2014 action movie again and were reminded of how much they enjoyed it. This rewatch started more discussions about a possible sequel. Emily Blunt has also been actively talking about returning for a sequel. The original movie based on the novel All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, who relives the same day repeatedly fighting off an alien invasion. It was a solid hit, earning $370 million worldwide and has remained popular among action fans. In 2019, Warner Bros. Announced plans to develop Edge of Tomorrow 2, but there hasn't been much news since then. Now, Tom Cruise's recent deal with Warner Bros. To develop movies has sparked hopes among fans that a sequel might be on the cards. If Edge of Tomorrow 2 does go ahead, it could take the story in new directions, potentially exploring different aspects of the time loop or introducing new characters and scenarios that deepen the original plot. The sequel could really shake things up, building on the first film's success and taking the franchise to new heights. If you enjoyed the movie, make sure to like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes movie content, and stay tuned for more exciting insights and untold stories, and we'll see you in the next one.